Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
He's going to set you up with the mic. So we get the Ralph. Good afternoon. My name's Steve Teixeira. I direct the Student Support Program on campus, and I'll be introducing Mr. Moore very briefly, and then we're going to have some question and answers with him. We're in a real tight schedule. He has a day that's quite full of activities. I want to thank First Educational Opportunity Program for helping make this possible, Departments of History, Latin American Studies, and also Communications. And they're doing this at a real important moment. You know, about 100 years ago in another society, Boswell wrote that patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. He's talking about a society that invaded countries to help uplift them, enslaved people so they were no longer savages. And, thank you. You know, if we had a little bass, we could really do something with this. And also sought to quell terrorism in India, in the Middle East, by conquering places. And so it's a good moment in time to think about that, but I think that patriotism isn't only the refuge of scoundrels, it's the laboratory of satirists. And we have one of America's best with us today. You know, satire is a literary work which attacks vice and folly. I know because I just read it in the dictionary, you know, with wit. But the thing of it is, if you attack the proponents of vice or folly, they sometimes attack back. So it is that Mr. Moore's television show ended. This particular book was almost censored, and I understand some of his speaking engagements have been disrupted. And you know, those aren't attacks on Michael Moore, they're an attack on us. He knows what he thinks. He has researched and has his position. People who disrupt events want to keep us from knowing what he thinks. But today, at least we're here, and we have an opportunity to come together in community and share with a fellow American his views in this important moment. You've probably read the little blurb. He's won an Emmy in television. His documentary sold more tickets than any documentary in the history of film. His book was a bestseller. Now he has a new one out. So that's who we've got. Without any more, Michael Moore.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Where am I? No, I know it's Cal State LA, but what is this? The Student Union? I just said, how come we're not like in a theater where it's comfortable, you know? And they said the school wouldn't allow me to speak here in the theater because the theater is only for performances. I said, well, I'll I can sing a little, you know. So that's why we're out here in the lobby, I guess. Doesn't matter though, does it? Huh? No, they can put us wherever they want to. We'll still show up. But it wasn't that way last night in Berkeley. Oh no, they have a very nice place. Very nice, well-funded place. Yeah, right. So anyways, my new book is called Stupid White Men and Other Sorry Excuses for the State of the Nation. It was printed on September 10th, 50,000 copies of it. Came off the printing press. It was supposed to be shipped the next day, September 11th. Because of what happened, it wasn't shipped. And so they held off for a few weeks on shipping out any of their books, for obvious reasons, everything that was going on at the time. And it got into October, and I called the publisher, HarperCollins, and I said, when's the book coming out? And they said, well, we've had a change of mind about this book. And I said, well, what do you mean? Well, Mike, this book is very harsh on the president. And my conscience requires me to use quotation marks for the next... And they said, well, it's just out of touch now with the political climate. America is united. We stand behind George W. Bush, and your book is too critical of him, and therefore, in order to put this out, we'd like you to go back and rewrite 50% of the book and tone down your criticisms and your dissent. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I said, you've got to be kidding me. I'm not going to rewrite 50% of one word. They said, oh, well, not only do we want you to do that, we want you to change the title, change the cover, and we want you to pay us the money it's going to cost us to reprint the 50,000 books. So I said, well, okay, so let me get this straight. You want me to pay you for the privilege of censoring myself? And anyway, so we had this standoff for a couple months. They wouldn't put the book out. I wouldn't change anything in it. And then one night, someone from the publisher called and said, well, it doesn't look good. Looks like the book isn't going to come out, and they're going to pulp the 50,000 copies that they've printed. Pulp. I'd never heard this word used as a verb before. They're going to pulp it and, you know, turn it back into recycled paper or whatever. And, you know, I was so depressed when I heard this, man. I just really, I couldn't believe I was like, you know, this was going to happen to me, and this book wasn't going to come out, and this could happen in the United States. And at a time when we're talking about protecting our freedom, yet we reduce our freedoms, you know? It's like, it's just so bizarre. But then I saw the silver lining in the cloud, and I thought, you know, they're going to pulp the book, you know? It's like, just to hear that word come out of their mouths, it shows how far we've actually come as a society that even the oppressor thinks of recycling now, you know? It's like, screw Mike, save the trees, you know? So anyways, finally they flew in some guy from the News Corporation, which owns HarperCollins. News Corporation is owned by Rupert Murdoch. And we had this meeting at this board table, and he has the book in his hands. He says, this book will not be published in this form, with this title. White men are not the problem right now. What's this chapter in here? He opens it up. You got a chapter in here called Kill Whitey. Whitey is not the problem. And I looked at him, I said, sir, Whitey is always the problem. So anyways, I refused to budge, and I left there, and I went to speak out in New Jersey at this meeting of a consumer group, and I told them what was happening to my book and that it looked like it wasn't going to come out, and so therefore I'd like to read you a chapter from the book, because you may be the only ones ever to hear or read anything from it. So I read this chapter from it, and somewhere in the audience, somebody I don't know, this woman, oh, thank you very much, a librarian, goes back home after hearing that this book is going to be banned, gets in the librarian chat rooms, and starts telling other librarians, you know, what's going on. And they then send these letters around to all these librarians, and it's like, you know, I mean, did you know librarians were meeting in chat rooms? I mean, it's very... What's the world come to, you know? I thought that was just for like Britney Spears fans or whatever, you know? So, anyways, a couple days later I get a call from HarperCollins, and they've been deluged with thousands of letters, angry hate mail from librarians, you know, about banning the book. And the publisher calls me up and he goes, what did you tell the librarians? I said, oh, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. We're receiving hate mail from librarians. I said, hey man, listen, all I know is that's one pissed off group of people. You know, they've had their budget slashed, they've had their libraries closed, the books are 30 years old, held together with scotch tape and shit, you know? It's like, that's one terrorist group you do not want to mess with, you know? You think they're sitting there in the library all quiet and mousy, you know? Shh. The only reason they want you to be quiet is because they're plotting the revolution, man, you know? It's like, oh. It was amazing, though, and it totally freaked the publisher out. They saw the shitstorm that was about to take place for, you know, thinking of banning my book. And 2 days later, they called and said, okay, you win. The book's coming out, uncensored, unchanged, just the way you wrote it, just the way we printed it. You know, hope you're happy because this book is out of touch with the American people. You should take a look at the approval ratings the president has, 80 and 90%. So enjoy your flop of a book, Mike. And, oh, here's the book tour we're sending you on. We're going to send you to Ridgewood, New Jersey, and Arlington, Virginia. That's it. I said, what about California? No. Sir, I had to get out here on my own dime. Even to this day, they would not pay my way to come out here. So anyways, they tell us, oh, the book is going to bomb. It's not going to do well. It comes out 2 weeks ago Tuesday. Within 24 hours, it rises to #1 on the Amazon.com bestseller list. That's all books combined. It's like... How often is it in our lives where the revenge is so sweet from those in authority who just like got the boot to our neck, right? And they always win, don't they? Damn it, they're always 3 steps ahead of us, and it's like we never win. So when this happened 24 hours after the book goes on sale, it blew not only my mind, it blew their mind, because in the next 24 hours, it goes to #1 on 3 other bestseller lists. It goes to #4. This is my favorite one, on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. It made my day. I could have just like given up and gone home at that moment just to see the Wall Street Journal have to typeset the words in their paper, stupid white men.